Hi, I'm Claudia, and today we're gonna have another chit chat. Get ready with me. Yeah, I feel like this is the type of video that I am the most comfortable to film because I can just talk about the topic that I'm concerning right now. But to feature in this video, I'm gonna show you guys a palette that is very cute. I created it from my ColourPop single. It's an all matte palette, but I think the color story is really funny. So like, if you want to see that kind of like custom palette, just keep on watching. Yeah, I have to really talk back to, I don't know, antenna? Yeah, in Vietnam people would call it shrimp antenna. The thing that I want to talk about today is what kind of life is considered to be fun and adventurous and joyful, not boring. I think this is a thing that people have very strong opinion about the personality of other people or the way that they enjoy their own lives. And yeah, because recently I have learned about what is the difference between an adventurous and what's considered to be a phenomenal life compared to what is considered to be boring and idle. Because personally I would describe my life to be boring, but not in a negative way, like I am being pessimistic right now about how I choose to live my life. And I think it's okay to have a boring life. So should I say ordinary? Boring is a very strong and weird word, because what you consider to be boring might appear to be interesting and full of excitement and amusement to the others. IT stuff, sport, makeup, cars, tech, anime, video games. So it's just the way that we talk about it doesn't generalize the common ground of what considered to be more fun and what's considered to be more tedious. And that is so problematic when you point at someone and say, you should try to be more fun, you should try to do something that bring you laughter, that bring you like the huge weight of euphoric feeling. You know, something that's really trigger you to feel excited. But don't you think that being overjoyed could be the origin of a lot of problems? Yeah, that's what I say. Because normally I don't think we are good at control ourselves when we get too excited, when we are stimulated by substances. I don't want to say it, but there are other stimuli that are responsible for the way that we lose our consciousness, our awareness, like just for a moment. And when we snap, no one can predict everything can happen. So that's why we say like have fun, but like don't have way too much fun. And I understand that's why people want to have fun all the time, because for them that is the dopamine, that is like the painkiller. Maybe that realm of people, they don't experience a lot of distress. Second thing, to me, this is what I can speak for my life. I think my life is a constant state of being sad, and sometimes I popped up and being fun, being happy instead. But I have to accept the common conclusion that at the end of the day, my life is sad. I suffer from a lot of sorrow, even the fear of separation. And it feels like I'm facing death every single day. It's not the actual death, but more of a thought of how someone can enjoy life while we are all dying. You know, like just thinking about it, and I think about that a lot. I think it's necessary why death is so difficult to face. Because living is so worth it. Living is difficult too, like way more difficult than dying itself. But it's just so worth it at the end. The love, the people. And I think I am responsible for my own feeling that I'm not the one who just like smile the problem away or anything. That's why I choose to be a little bit more anxious, a little bit more distressed and overthinking. But I came to terms with it. I came to terms with the way that I'm living. I'm not a fan of hanging out because I need a lot of time alone. Or yeah, I don't think adding too many people would help me to solve any problems, let alone it would cause me more trouble. So that's why I stay far from making new friends. And yeah, if you think that I can be your friend, you can come and talk to me. But organically, I wouldn't try to be friend with anyone, because I don't think I have a core base of friends. Yeah, I'm okay with that. There are not many in there, but it's just enough for me to feel like this is the type of friend that is so worth it, and I will be there for them. I will be my best to be with them, to help them, and that's the way that I live. So I don't need to have a fun life, to be honest. What is the point of having a lot of fun and then you feel sad? Yeah, I don't blame people for being fun. Right now it sounds so negative, but if you don't live the others' lives, so please understand that people have their own struggle, and the way that they approach to that lifestyle is just as difficult as you do. So there's no reason for you to give them another ground of teaching that this is the way that you should live your life. They are not stupid. No one is that stupid. Everyone could be very smart in the way that they become who they are. So that's a fixation mindset, you know. There's a quote, there's a saying, there's a proverb, and you think it's so great that you share to the others. And it's okay if you try to share it to make you feel more positive, because you spread out another energy of positivity. It's okay if you do that, but it's also okay when people don't want to receive it, because it's just so ridiculous. For you, that is the real positivity. But if it appears way too much and way too often, and it doesn't feel real to another person, that is toxic positivity. And like I said, for some problem, you cannot fake a smile and just be okay with it the other day when you don't deal with it. Like, problem won't go away. Okay, you can say let it go, let bygones be bygones. Absolutely true, but do something to make it the bygone. When it comes to human mind, it's so complex, and that's psychology and philosophy and neurological stuff. So it's just too complex to find a unifying theory to fix every single problem in life. And I think that's the reason why life is less fun for some certain people. So don't judge them because they are boring or ordinary or don't know how to enjoy the moment. Just that phase alone is so hard to achieve. Also, the ideology of enjoy the moment, enjoy it while it lasts, is somewhat challenging to certain groups, because how can we fully enjoy the moment while we constantly think of the moment it will end, and it's inevitable that it will end, but how can we deal with the degradations of happiness and compassion when it's so good and you want it to be a permanent part of your life? But that's just not it. That just is never the case. So practicing being sad, practicing being vulnerable is very important, so that it doesn't necessarily mean that when it ends you won't feel sad anymore, but during the course of enjoying it, of living through it, you speak about it, you talk about it, you go through the gain and loss of something you love, someone you love. And then I think that's a kind of freedom when you already faced every single aspect of it, when you know that it would end, but it's so worth it. So that's why we should enjoy it when it lasts. But even when it ends in the worst way ever, the feeling of regret and self-torturing, self-pity because you could have done better is also valid. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's valid because you have thought about it, because you have put your mind and heart into it. It's not because you are just waiting for a good ending. It's like death, facing death. Like, if you don't talk about it, you will never set yourself free. I think that's the reason why we can still talking about something that is too sensitive, too destructive, but it's just so important that we address it. That is bad. That is really, really bad for our future, for our life. So we can work from it. Like, if you hide away from it, there's no ending. Yeah. It's not gonna go away. The fact is, not talking about a bad topic, a controversial one, doesn't make it go away. You can choose to do it. It's okay. That's your freedom of choice. But remember, sometimes talking and not talking doesn't change the consequence of that action. We have to live through it anyway, but at the end you can talk about it, you can cry, you can feel so angry, but you are who you are. You know that this is the version of myself when I was put into that situation. And to me, that's wonderful. That you have that kind of acknowledgement, that you don't try to hide away from what is truly important. And I think that should be the kind of education that we give to ourselves. I apply my brow and then put on some highlighters. Well, this is like the first time in a while that I go this banana with the highlighter. This is the palette that I told you I curated. The idea of this palette is that I want to create a radiant of 3 colors. So you have the lightest row here, the middle tone, and then the darkest. So that, and by the way, it's all matte. And the second part about the assessment whether a life is boring or a person is boring is going to be about a person. How do you call someone boring? That's just so interesting, and it's also very crazy. I never call someone boring, to be honest, just because they don't talk about the same topics that I am interested in, and you call them boring, or because they talk too much. they are boring to you. And that's not the end of the world that you have to keep telling everyone that, oh, this person is boring and they have nothing to tell, they have nothing to bring to the table. Like, chill out. Not everyone in this world is made to talk to you. And it's okay, it's okay that you don't find the common thing between you two. There's other people. It's just rude to call them boring when inside of themselves there's so much offer to the right people. It also like a pity for them that they cannot be surrounded by the one that truly want to listen to them. And in Vietnam, people would call those people like plant, like, or pale plant. I think that's the right adjective, plant. Like a dish that you don't put a lot of seasoning in it becomes bland. Nhạc in Vietnamese. And it's just so weird. It's so, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. Not because there are certain people who call me, boring or bland, because there are. Wow, what is so like 1920s? Like the blue eye and then like the cheek. Oh my god, this is so wrong. And when someone is not funny, okay, that's a huge deal for people, that they need people to be funny and humorous and telling jokes all the time, being so energetic, and don't talk about serious topic or don't talk too much. But you guys, what is the point of education when it all has to be funny? Like, do you want a teacher to tell jokes all the time? Or maybe that's what the young are thinking right now, that everything needs to be like fun and entertainment. Everything should like a commercial, colorful, showing you the vision of heaven, the visions of the most happiest players with the nicest people. But when there's someone who bring up a topic that is very serious and you don't want to talk about it and you call them boring. And I understand, for example, reading a book about social, political, educational commentary or scientific documents is not as funny as reading a novel or a comic book, because there's no plot, there's no story, there's no interesting and cool and relatable characters. But I think it's okay not having those things, because nothing is supposed to be followed by a sequence of excitement, of thrilling objects, of like scientific, fictional imagination. It could be real, and real life is boring. So why you try to delusionize yourself into believing that life could be more interesting than it actually is? It's okay that sometimes that we try to escape the harsh reality with something more fun and more comfortable. But you have to be back to real life, you guys. Like, you cannot live in that world forever. And once again, we don't have to be happy all the time. And it's very stressful that you try to be a funny guy every single day, but then one day you just feel off and you don't want to pretend to be like that anymore. It's just so hard to keep a constant track with the kind of people that you show to the world. And be honest, we are all changing. Our mood swing like crazy every single day, and I accept it. So I don't know. Funny enough, I don't want to be around people who are too funny, too energetic, because I cannot handle it. Like, it's just so bad. Like, it's okay that you are around me and you be the best version of yourself every day. The ones that you try to, it's just me. I need the environment that a little bit more calm. It's not like I'm antisocial or anything. I love being around people, but I love a group that can extrude the realistic energy, like something fluctuating, something that kaleidoscopic, sadness and joy, and yeah, something in between mixed up together, but something that is real. And maybe the one who call you a nerd or like bland, they're not even that salty. Yeah, as opposed to bland. Yeah, they're not interesting at all. They're not amazing. They think they are amusing, they think they are friendly, but in fact, they are not to you. It's okay. It's okay to, like, no hard feeling or just like socializing. But I don't think that it's a fair game to call someone boring and not nice and talk too much. They just don't talk about the things that you want to hear, and that is the world. Because life is built like that. Life is meant to be for the proliferations of multi-personalities, of diversity, of people representing themselves in the way that they want to, and it will not fit your vision. I'm okay to know that there are people who don't think that I am interested. Like, I don't live this life to be the most interesting people, like to be the most famous one, because like I'm so funny, I'm talking to everyone. No, I'm the one who sit in a corner. Yeah, I sit in a corner. Sometimes I overthink, sometimes I think about certain topics, sometimes I just sit there with a clear sky brain. Like there are like blob of clouds in it, but yeah, no intricate thoughts at all. And that's me trying to be boring. First of all, let's talk about the eye look. It's a little bit of a fail. When I mix the blue and the brown together, it turns into like a grayish navy undertone color, and I didn't notice that while I blend the blue way too high, it gets all muddy. I have to use a tissue paper to wipe it off and clean it off. But it's okay now. I think it's okay now. Yeah, I did put on some like a little lip balm, tinted lip balm situation. So I think the look is okay now. And for what is said, for the time being, no life is boring, and no one is boring. Like trust me, like that's the only thing I can be sure right now about what I've talked about for the last hour. No one is boring, no life is boring. You can go to a coffee, talk to a stranger, you can go travel around the world. You can do like cool, adventurous, risky stuff. You can go party every night. You can sit at home cooking, baking, do artistic stuff, do makeup, reading books, listen to music. You can go to the park alone or with a group of people or with a lot of people. It's your life. And don't let anyone to criticize you based on the way that you choose to live your life. In fact, you can enjoy life in any way possible. You cannot say that staying at home reading a book is less fun than hanging out with friends, joining a club or anything. You cannot say that. Yeah, I know there's more thing about physical health and like physical activities related to that, but I mean like mentally, I'm just talking about your feeling, what you feel the most comfortable living your life, enjoying the moment. There are a lot of ways to be fun, and no one is there to amuse you to death. Okay, so if you think that someone is boring, just Just don't think about it that way. I don't know, like, or don't just spread out a rumor they are boring, because they are not. They are to you, not to the rest of the world. The question is, do you know how to enjoy the moment while it lasts? That is the case. Like, for whatever you do you think that you can enjoy it? It's hard to answer, you know. So take time. Take all of the time in your capacity to answer it. Once again, I'm Cloudy, and hopefully we'll see each other again.